Hi Virgo, welcome to your April 2017 General Tarot reading. It's Rena here. And so before I begin, I just wanted to go over some transits briefly. There's going to be a full moon on the 11th of April. And this is going to be in your, it's in the sign of Libra. So for you, this is your second house of earned income. Now, there could be endings in an income stream, but there could be something that comes to fruition. So maybe you've been working hard on something and all of a sudden it starts to pay off. And that would be really clutch, wouldn't it? And at the end of the month, on April 26th, there's a new moon in Taurus, which is your sister Earth sign. And this is in the 9th house of higher learning, foreign travel, the philosophical framework that you have, or your spiritual beliefs, I would say, overall. And what else is it involving? Any publishing things, so there could be new beginnings in these areas. Perhaps you meet somebody from another culture, another country. And there's going to be actually a new moon. Well, that is the new moon, but there's also what do you call it, Mercury retrograde in this house, and in Taurus, at 4 degrees of Taurus. And this is happening starting on the 9th of April and going until May 3rd. So that could be somehow you reviewing that area and thinking about, anything related to these matters. Maybe you were going to go on a trip and you have second thoughts. Maybe you were going to, major in a certain line of study and you change it, or maybe decide not to go to university at all. Who knows? All right. Okay, so the first thing that kind of stood out to me was 3 pentacles out of only 7 cards. And then the other thing that stuck out, there's also 2 swords cards, and even the star card connects to Aquarius. So if there's an Aquarian that is giving you a bit of trouble, there could be something going on with an Aquarian. But most of these cards are minor arcana, so they could be dealing with day-to-day situations, possibly. Maybe this is a month of kind of clearing the decks, because May will bring that activity of the 9th house in the forefront when the sun goes into that sign. Actually, the sun goes into the sign at the end of April in Taurus. But in any case, let me begin. And the overall theme or focus for this time period is the Ace of Pentacles. A new job offer, perhaps? Or maybe you're mulling over something, a new job offer. Maybe you get some money from pennies from heaven. No, really, like you see the clouds. So this is supposed to indicate that you get money that you didn't expect, kind of like a blessing. That could be a possibility, and that money allows you to do some other things that you've been wanting to do. So it kind of gives you that boost that allows you to do something else. The Ace of Pentacles could mean a new relationship that is solid, that's not flaky. Could actually be with a fellow earth sign. So I mentioned Taurus, the new moon. Perhaps it's an actual Taurus individual. It could be a fellow Virgo. And, you know, I don't know if I've ever known any relationships with people that were Virgos. That would be pretty interesting. And then Capricorn is the other earth sign as well. So it could be any of those issues, but beginnings. Look, I got right underneath it for the spiritual message, I got the Ace of Swords, another beginning. Now, in the past position, I get the Nine of Pentacles. The number 9 is the number of endings, ending of a cycle. But this is a woman, I mean, at least it's depicted as a woman, I think because 9 is a feminine number and so are Pentacles. And I wonder if this is connected to Virgo, because you are an earth sign, Pentacles, and, you know, you rule the 9. I mean, you rule the number 9 because the 9th month is September. I'm thinking that's what the Hermit card, why it's number 9. There might be another reason if Virgo is associated with solitary living, which I think it is. So in the past position, the Nine of Pentacles indicates someone who is independent in their finances. And what I take from this, which is kind of interesting, is that you're moseying along, everything is good, you get this offer you can't refuse, and now you feel a sense of oppression, anxiety, because you allowed yourself to get suckered into something. It could have been a job where maybe you were working for yourself, but then someone said, oh, have I got an opportunity for you? And now you're saddled with some kind of a outside gig that you cannot rid yourself of for some reason. And you're like, oh my God. Now, if any of you are having that scenario, please write about it if you feel like it, because sometimes these things seem outlandish to me, but it could be happening to some people out there. The reason that it seems hard to believe is because if people are working for themselves, I can't imagine a scenario where they would go to work for someone else. But it could be also in relationships where you're happy, everything is fine, and you start a new relationship, and then there's that sense of oppression. Now, it could be that the Ace of Pentacles is apart from that Nine of Swords. It could be that the swords just represent a negative relationship with an air sign. Maybe you've met someone new, but you still are somehow connected to an air sign, still connected to a Libra or an Aquarian or a Gemini individual. And that, because the Ace of Pentacles is a very positive card. So I don't see, so when I said that thing about accepting a new job, I think that it's not so much a new job. It would be something maybe you wanted to help somebody else for some reason. And maybe you were helping to launch somebody else's business. Maybe the Ace of Pentacles is related to somebody else's business launch. And now, for some reason, it has caused you problems. You know, I didn't think of this. Maybe you have lent money to somebody else's launch, and so that they could launch a business, and now you're very anxious because you're not sure that you're going to get reimbursed. Maybe it was a partner that you were with and you allowed them to manipulate you into doing it and you regret it. The higher message is the Ace of Swords, and this is a card of success though. It's coming sometimes from not so lovely circumstances around you. Perhaps there's some kind of a situation that you are dealing with that is causing you to have to really, I was going to say fight for this success, but it's here for you. And it's, as a higher message, it's showing you that you can triumph over all things. Maybe you didn't think that it was going to work out. And, that was probably why you felt so anxious, but it did, or it can. As a higher message, it's kind of like trying to relieve you of that worry more than anything. Sometimes we worry about things that are not worth worrying about. It's not like everything we worry about is legitimate. And so you may be feeling like you want to get something launched yourself, perhaps. And this is a time when you will be able to do that. Maybe you felt like you had sunk your money into something else and, to help somebody else out, and you got taken for a ride. But I feel like you will get compensated in some way. If you're like a silent partner, it may be that something is going to unfold. Maybe it won't happen instantaneously, but you may get that money back. But the Ace of Swords is really about this independent victory. So it's not so much helping somebody else out. I think you're like really starting out something on your own. You have a lot of kind of independent cards. But it just may have been that you know what it could be too, to be honest with you, is that you're afraid of the new beginnings. I didn't even think of it that way. I was thinking in terms of somebody else. Maybe you are starting your own business and you're afraid that it won't succeed. And the Ace of Swords is saying, do not worry. And it's like you're going to develop this laser mind where you're not allowing yourself to think too much and to worry about things. I know I have a moon in Virgo, so it's something that people with a prominent Virgo have to do, is to like not allow themselves to spin out with these what ifs and really have faith, but also do your legwork. Don't just leave things up to chance. And I know that I don't have to lecture a Virgo person about that, because you tend to be very thorough and kind of like make sure all the details are in order. You tend to be very organized. So that's not going to be a problem for most of you, but there are going to be a few people who are outliers, who don't kind of go along with every last attribute of their sign, or the shadow aspect of the sign, I should actually say. In personal relationships, I also think you're going to have an independent streak where you see things as they really are. Maybe you had rose-colored glasses on. Maybe you were kind of making up excuses for somebody's bad behavior. And it's going to finally dawn on you that they are the cause of your anxiety. At first, you may kind of be oblivious to it. And then you realize that they're the ones that are creating this. And you are a co-creator because you're allowing it, What crosses you is the Star card. It was kind of like what I was just alluding to, where you have to have that sense of faith that things are going to turn out the way that you want it to. You can't be fear-based, and you can't be, you shouldn't be foolishly optimistic. I'm not saying that. There are two extremes. But this card could also represent an Aquarian who is out of control, who is, making your life miserable, and it can connect to that Nine of Swords. Maybe, you know, there's someone who you're having financial success and you're trying to launch your own thing, and this person decides to act up, and you would be surprised. Some people, and they may not even know they're doing it themselves, they may be trying to sabotage you by throwing you off and making you focus on them because they don't want you to be successful, because then they have to look at their own life. If they don't feel successful, it's hard for them to revel in somebody else's success. Every success that the person has, every little success is one more example of why they are failures and you are superior to them. And some people, that will really eat away at them. And so they use these tactics like, cheating, for instance, to try to make themselves feel better, but also to throw you off your game, to make you to distract you from what you're trying to do. Now, again, they may not even be conspiring to do this. They just do it unintentionally, but it has that result. Unconsciously, I should say. The advice, or what's coming in, is the Page of Pentacles. With the Mercury retrograde, you may hear some news that's related to career or money. And this can be a very happy thing. This can also relate to new beginnings with your finances. And there's a sense of freshness. There's a sense of, you're getting a page. You're getting two aces. So in a lot of ways, even though you only got one major arcana card, Virgo, this may be a very important time after all. Because in April, you have the sun in another earth sign. And this is in the sector that deals with, your version of life itself, like what you see as your philosophy and what you stand for. And it kind of like goes along with the 11th house to me, which is of hopes and wishes. So the 10th house, being an earth house, is very down to earth and very practical, tangible. And the 9th and the 11th houses are more abstract. They can deal with experiences and ideas sometimes. And so whatever it is that you are wanting out of life, that is the 11th house. The 9th house is what your, ethics are. How your moral framework, and what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not willing to tolerate. And this can go into the relationship arena as well. So if you're having any kind of problems with a partner, the Page of Pentacles or Mercury retrograde in the 9th house may cause you to reflect on that in terms of your overall goal of life, and see how that, keeps you from it. And the outcome is the Four of Wands. This is the card of a happy home and a happy family. So I started the reading. That wasn't the first card I read, but that's the first card in the upper left is the Nine of Pentacles. So this is somebody who is self-sufficient. And I'm talking about financially. The Four of Wands can relate to a happy marriage or a happy home life or a new home. And what this can mean is that that's your goal that you have. And anything that does not serve you will fall by the wayside, or you will consciously release it. The Four of Wands is right underneath that Nine of Swords. So the contrast couldn't be more stark, where you do not want to be in that position of torment, really, if that's what it has been for you. Your goal is to have a marriage or the equivalent of a marriage that is coming from a place of peace and not of chaos, and not where you have to worry about what's happening. And actually right now, the number 4, you see that card was number 4, and in astrology, the 4th house is the house of home and family. So you see that numerology is very strong in the tarot, and it does connect to astrology. These occult sciences connect. And so right now, transit-wise, you have Saturn in the 4th house in Sagittarius. Okay? So you have possibly been having challenges in your home life in some ways during the past 2 years. This is going to be until the end of 2017 that we see this transit. So this may already be old hat for you, but the good thing, Virgo, is that at the end of this transit, if you have played your cards right, pardon the pun, you may have a situation where you have that family that you've been dreaming of, or that home that you've been dreaming of, because Saturn can take your dreams and crystallize them, making them into reality, even though along the way it can be a little bit challenging and it can demand the best of you. So, all's well that ends well, and I hope you enjoyed this, Virgo. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. In most of my readings, I use your astrological chart, which is like your soul's blueprint in this lifetime, your natal chart, in order to give you a tailored reading, a personal reading. And some readings, the tarot is also included. But please click on the link below for a list of my services. Otherwise, have a great April. Bye.